Good morning and welcome back to Living on a UK State Pension. My name's Tanya, I'm 68 years old and for the next 33 weeks I'm going to be living on my UK State Pension and saving my civil service pension to put back some much needed money into my bank account, my savings account, because of my overspend on my renovation. And next week is when my next pension payment comes in on Monday the 14th. Today is Monday the 7th, I believe. Yeah, Monday the 7th. And I'm making falafels in this video as a trial run for when I'm on my restricted income for the next 8 weeks, starting on the 14th, because I want to keep my spending down to £60. Now, I have got a freezer full of food. I've got a cupboard that's very well stocked as well, but I really want to buy as many meals as I can out of the £60 as well. So doing a lot more vegetarian options will help the money go a bit further too. Stretching some other meals that contain meat will help. I don't know how well I'm going to do, if I'm completely honest. I don't. So I have made falafels before and I do like them very much. To me it's like a summery dish because obviously they're a hot country dish, and yeah, that's why I think I prefer eating them in the summer. So I don't like parsley and I don't like coriander. But if you like those two things, you can add them because traditionally they contain both. So my recipe is slightly different, you know, skewed towards my preferences. Just like when you're doing a recipe, you might skew something towards your preferences. So this is mine, and it's mainly done in a food processor. So fingers crossed. That's all I can say, is that, you know, they're going to turn out okay and I'm going to enjoy them, because they will probably make up salad lunches and other bits and pieces. I've also researched a broccoli salad that I'm thinking of trying, especially because broccoli is going to be one of the offers in Aldi next week. Is it the 15p veg? I'll double check that, but I'm sure they mentioned they're going to have broccoli. That's if I can get any when I get over there, because they're, yeah, the one in Clacton, you know, it's like a plate of locusts, and if not, I will go to the one in Walton. I'm seriously thinking, should I just cut my losses and go to the one in Walton instead? So we'll see. Anyway, further ado, here we have the falafel. So technically, I started this recipe last night because I took the chickpeas out of the tin. I washed and drained them, left them on the side for a little while to start drying out, and they've been in my fridge overnight. Get rid of that one. So they're a little bit drier. Most authentic recipes ask you to buy dried chickpeas and soak them overnight. I don't know where my big cup is, so I'm going to have to do this in stages. So I'll put half in there, half a small onion, I'll just chop it up a bit smaller. Sorry, it's one full onion, but I'm putting half in my cup at a time. And there's 2 cloves of garlic, but again, I'm putting one in my cup at a time, and they're quite big cloves. So, And I'll put the cumin, because it's 1 teaspoon. Oops. 1 teaspoon of cumin. Can that fit in? Yes. I can put that all in one so I can mix it in. Because it says that the mixture will come out quite wet. So I'll put my lid on that. I haven't added the chipotle paste to it yet because I'm doing half at a time. Goodness, that's strong coming out of there. The spices already. The key is to keep pushing it down. I might not have to add any flour to this, because the flour is if you only add flour if it's slack. But we'll see. See when I start to handle it. I'm not going to make any decisions as yet. Onion is still quite big. So, oops. And the onion is very strong. Very strong. Ooh. And again, one more time. Fingers crossed it does it this time. Smooth mixture. It's supposed to be a very smooth mixture. It's more like it. It's getting all the bits. Yeah, that sounds more like it. So I'll put the first lot in the bowl. Right, and the next onion and clove. I should have chopped that up a bit more. Goodness, that's getting my eyes. Right, I'm going to put a smidge of chipotle paste in this one. Flat teaspoon, that is. All chipotle paste is a type of chilli. And that's all. Goodness, eyes, stinging. And I need a teaspoon, flat teaspoon of baking powder. And apparently this is what makes them fluffy. Light and fluffy. I'm going to have to run that through a sieve, I think. I've got some lumps and bumps in my flat teaspoon. Get rid of the lumps. Yeah. I'll leave the flour on the side because I'll work out how wet it is once I start handling it. Alright, let's pulse again. See, in a food processor, I don't have a food processor, you can pulse. This one you've got to lift in and out. Sort of. It's getting old, and at some point it's going to need replacing. So another pulse. Right, another one. Push it down onto the blade one more time. And then we'll be done. There we are. Okay. That's it. The blade's done its job. So clean the cup. Goodness, those spices are strong. Lovely and clean. Lovely and clean. Check how wet it is. Let me get my hands dry. Whether I've got to add a bit of onion, whether I've got to add flour. Get it all mixed through, because half of it had the chipotle in and half of it, because I don't know where my big cup is, which is annoying. That looks nice and smooth. How wet is it? Oh, it is quite wet. So maybe just 1 spoon of flour, 1 dessert spoon. Now if you've got gram flour, which is made out of chickpeas, you can add that, but it says plain flour. So I think I'm just going to add a flat one to begin with. These are high in protein, which is what I'm trying to increase in my diet, and, you know, reduce the carb content of my diet a little bit more. I don't mind having my fruit loaf and things like that, but my meals I want to be mainly protein based, which is hard on a restricted income. And this is one way where you can. I don't need another one. It is wet. It is wetter than I thought. So, and then I'm going to roll it out into balls. Now, if you can be bothered, you can weigh the balls out so that they're all even, or you can just eyeball it. I'm just going to eyeball it. And it says balls or patties. Well, because I'm going to fry them off in some shallow oil, I shall make them into patties. Smell lovely. Now, often when you've got doing things like this, it says to let them rest for a little while in the fridge. But I'm definitely going to fry one up to see what it's like. Get 6 out of it. That's a bit big. Yeah, 6 out of it. 6 falafels. I'm going to use a half a tablespoon to begin with. See how we do with that first. It says you can brush them with the olive oil and then do them in your air fryer, but I just thought, well, I will use the minuscule amount of olive oil I can get away with and see if I can get them fried up all in one go. Bit in, see if it starts cooking. Not quite, not quite. It's the bit that's left on the spoon. And this is why you need to put them in the fridge, because they can be a little bit, see if I can get how hot that is. Go a little bit more before I add another one. I mean, I might still put them in the air fryer once they've got a skin either side. They'll definitely be heated up in the air fryer. And they're sticking. No, that one didn't stick. That one's formed a nice crust. Perhaps I need to move that over and put it on an even higher gas to seal them. There we are, that's better. That's sealing them now. Move these round. I've got one more to put in. One more. There we are. Well, they're frying just as well dry fried, to be honest, but perhaps you do need just that little bit of oil in the pan to stop them sticking well and truly. I'm probably better off with them. You know, I used to have a palette knife And I know people are going to tell me off for using a knife in here, but I'm literally using it to flick over. Flick them over. And it says make beetroot hummus to go with it. I've got no beetroot at the moment, but that would be ideal for summer, wouldn't it? Beetroot hummus to go with your falafels. Turn them over one more time. Yeah, they're drying out nicely. Drying out nicely. Right, I'm going to take one out, take the first one out that I put in. And I think I could put them in the air fryer just to finish drying off the mix and make it even more crispy. Tiniest bit of sweet chilli sauce on the side. So that I can have a taste. Taste it by itself as well. It needs salt. It does need salt. But I can eat it without. Full of flavour. Just got that tiniest little bit of kick from the Chipotle paste. Crisped up in the air fryer. When you've got to this stage, served with a big salad with eggs and I don't know, what I call a picky plate. A picky plate where you can have a bit of salad, you can have a bit of hummus. Yeah, ideal summer food. Maybe a boiled egg on the side for a bit more protein. Yeah, heaven. That would be lovely. So this is definitely one I'm going to be making next week on my challenge to have. As a picky plate. So I'm going to put them in here for now in a storage pot, and as I want them I will crisp them up in my air fryer. But they're nicely sealed now, so they can just be dropped into the air fryer and perfectly healthy. I mean, I've used not even a tablespoon of olive oil in the whole frying process for them. So really pleased with them. But yes, they need salt. They need seasoning. Good afternoon and welcome back to Living on a UK State Pension. I'm tagging this on to the falafel recipe that I've just done. Sorry, there's a few things playing on my mind and I will talk about one of them. Shortly. The falafels were lovely. I have to say, I've just had 2 at lunchtime, and so it's definitely something I will be making in my 8-week challenge. I've literally just picked my laptop up to see if anybody else other than Aldi, Lidl and Morrison's have announced their Easter veg, but I can't see Tesco, I can't see Sainsbury's, and I can't see Asda at the moment having announced anything. The only thing I am going to do, I'm going to cherry pick what I can get from the different supermarkets to get me through my 8-week challenge, because if anyone has got a cabbage, I know I've still got a fair amount of cabbage in my salad drawer, but I'm going to hit my carbs a little bit more, as I mentioned before. I'm going to hit my carbs, so I'm going to use cabbage instead of rice, or mix it with a smaller portion of rice, so that when I have chilli or something like that, so I'll be using a lot more rice, so I won't need as many potatoes. I will get potatoes, a bag of potatoes, but I won't need, I mean, I think at Christmas I got 3 bags, whereas I will possibly only get 2 this time, because if I find that I'm not going to use them, I'll prep them for the freezer. I will do a certain amount of prep, and you'll see that how I manage to store my veg and keep them for longevity, because it's no good buying this stuff and then it goes off, because that's just wasteful. So it's having things in place to make sure that you get the benefit of this cheap veg for as long as possible. So what else was I going to mention? The thing that's been playing on my mind, I had a letter come here the week before last from HMRC. Now it's to this address where I live, but not to me. And it's a demand for over £6,000. Someone who's on self-assessment. And I will, because the name, they haven't even put a full name on the envelope, which is, I find it ludicrous that the person isn't named in full. It's a Mrs. S.S. Jones at my address. Now, whenever I have had anything from HMRC, from the DWP, from the NHS, etc., my name is written in full across the envelope and then my address underneath. So why am I getting a demand for £6,000, over £6,000 to my address, and no one seems to have done any homework as to whether that person actually lives here? There is no national insurance number included in this letter. And I know it's a real one because I've had a second one come the day before yesterday demanding the first instalment on it, because apparently the interest is being added at £1.14p a day. £1.14p a day. So I phoned the tax people at Birmingham, the self-assessment unit. I phoned them up and I spoke to a Shazad. I've logged the day I phoned, I've logged the time I phoned, obviously I've got a record on my phone as well, and I was promised that it will be dealt with by the fraud department, but obviously not, because I've had another letter. So the second letter I've put in an envelope and written an explanation across it, and I've put, please look up me at this address because I'm logged at this address, and I also have a self-assessment account that is dormant at the moment, but will be revived in less than 10 days because we're now into the next tax year. So I've got to do the prep for the money that I had, you know, in the last tax year. So yeah, it's played on my mind a little bit. So I'm doing this so that this video so that it's logged, that I've done everything humanly possible in case the bailiffs turn up at my doorstep. I mean, I have readily got all my paperwork from the land registry and everything that says I own this property, and that I've been single council tax, etc. So, and nobody of that name has ever been known here. And I sent all of that to the fraud department. I've also sent an email to the fraud department stating, you know, this who is this person that says that they live here, because they don't. And how can they possibly be demanding money when there's no national insurance number on here, there's nothing personal to link that person with anything, which I find incredibly hard to understand. I've given them the reference that is on the letter. You know, it's just a reference number. But I know I am personally known. I have, is it a UTR for the tax people? And I obviously have my national insurance number. And both of those go straight back to me. My unique reference number that I have with them. Tax reference, sorry, unique tax reference. And yeah, so I'm hoping that I get some word from them soon that it's been sorted and that I won't be getting any more of these letters from them. And I have put in there that this is causing me a great deal of anxiety, having these sort of demands drop on my, you know, doorstep, not knowing who's going to turn up and demand this money. Do they put it in the hands of bailiffs? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I'm hoping that they sort it out soon. So yeah. Anyway, questions that I asked for questions at the end of a video recently. I didn't get very many. But Jill Harris -G6W asked, do you find being frugal gets you down? No, not currently. That's all I can say, not currently, because I'm on a mission, aren't I? I'm on a mission to bank that money to get me back up to where I was before I did all my renovation and spending, and it's going well. It's going well. If this was my lifestyle year in, year out, maybe I would find it hard sometimes to stay enthusiastic about things. I've got to be honest, yes. But I've, you know, I could say I've always been a coper. You know, I've always been someone that when the chips are down, I'll find a way to rally myself and, you know, pick myself up and get out there and do something, even if it meant not so nice jobs. When I had young children, when I was putting myself through university, to bring some extra pennies into the household. But I've always budgeted, because even when me and my husband were renovating properties, which is what we did to give us a decent pension pot when we retired. We renovated property after property. I think about 5 on the trot, something like that it must have been. And it was hard work, because both of us were holding down a full-time job at the time. and I was coming home and I was filling skips, I was stripping wallpaper, I was taking tiles off walls, you name it, I was doing it rather than us have to pay people to do it. And you know, we were working hard, but every time we moved on to a new property, I set up a budget for the new property that came out of the previous profit, and the rest was invested. It, you know, it was put into ISAs, it was put into whatever we could find that gave us a good return on it. Yes, we both had pensions as well, but you know what, we never knew what laid ahead. We just prepped as much as possible for the situation and made sure there was money there, you know, in the future. So do I find being frugal gets me down? 99% of the time, no. Currently, no. I enjoy growing my own. I always have. I think that's part of it. You know, the nature thing I find fascinating. Yeah, I don't. So anyway, I think that one's answered. Denise, is it Dennis or Denise? Sorry, it's my writing, it's not you. Callie, 7090, have you always been frugal? I've always wanted value for money. Always wanted value for money, that I can say. If I want something, I will pay for it. As you know by the unit in my lounge, I will pay top dollar for something, as long as I know it is good value and it ticks all the boxes that's in my head. You know, I probably paid over the odds for this bungalow. It was on the cusp of where property was starting to, you know, falter a little bit. But it filled the criteria that I wanted, and I knew I'd be sitting here for many years, and that I wasn't chasing the property market anymore. So, you know, in 10 years' time or 5 years' time, you know, it will probably make me a profit. But with what I bought it and what I've spent on it to become my home, I'm probably wouldn't get the money back on that at the moment, and I'm being honest about it. But it's my home. It's my home, and I know if it went up for sale tomorrow, even at the top end of what I could get for it, it would go in a heartbeat. It would go, because I've had a lot of people say to me, it is such a well proportioned bungalow, and the light in it, etc., and the size garden, and of course everything's done, but I won't be going anywhere soon anyway. So have I always been frugal? Wanted value for money, as I say. I've always budgeted, always, which I've also mentioned. So once I start hitting the top of my budget, that's when, you know, I'll find ways of clawing that money back. So yeah, I've enjoyed holidays, I've done everything, but even when I book a holiday, I want value for money. You know, as a retirement present to my family, the year before I retired, I suppose you could say we both paid for our family to go to America. So we all went to America, and we did the whole Disney thing. We'd been there before. We did the whole Disney thing. Then we went to Clearwater for a weekend while we were out there. We did lots and lots, made lots of memories. And, yeah, just in case, because you never know when, you know, life's going to stop you doing these sort of things. So while we had the money, paid for it. And that's all I can say. So Margot Hartwell 6195, where would your ideal holiday be, home or abroad? Right, both really. My aim when I was thinking about retirement was to extend the UK summer and go somewhere abroad early in March and go somewhere abroad in October time to extend our summer, extend the season here in the UK. And I'd still like to do that, and then smack bang in the middle of all of that, I'd love a long weekend in the UK, because I think there is nowhere better than the UK when we are having beautiful weather. We have so much beautiful scenery and beaches and landmarks, etc., etc. It goes a long way to be beaten, you know. It really does. And yes, we all need the sort of holiday where you just chill and you don't think about anything. And for me, that is typically abroad, where I can spend a few days around the pool with a book and completely shut off. But I do like to do a little bit of culture as well mixed in with that. But predominantly abroad is to chill, and I love the UK during the summer, so yeah. And there was a comment left on one of my vlogs. I can't remember which one. It was one where I mentioned the garden, I think, because a lady asked me, have I got lids for my water butts? And I went back to answer you. Now, this is the weird thing about YouTube. I cannot find that question again. I know I wasn't imagining it. I know the question was there because she said that somewhere where she lived, a cat had recently drowned in a water butt because it didn't have a lid on it. All my water butts have lids on them. I mean, the 2 dustbins that I'm using, once we get some rain, we've had no rain for a long time now, and everything is starting to dry up quickly, very quickly. The ground is around here, the places where I'm walking, yeah, there's gaps in the clay like that at the moment. I'll probably add a photograph to this at some point, and it's worrying. And we've got no rain due till I think another 10 days, and then there's only a 30% chance of it at this moment in time. So my water butt is getting low because I'm having to water my pots out there because everything is so dry in them, and some of the dormant plants aren't coming through because it's too dry for them. It's far too dry. So yes, I have got lids to my water butts, and fingers crossed that we get some rain. Yeah, we get some rain. So I think that's it for